Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Okay, so this one's a little different. We're diving into, it's called The Infinite Muse, Beneath the Weeping Willow Tree.
Ooh, evocative.
Right, and it's by Aurora Moon McKnight. You know, she usually writes like cozy fantasy sci-fi stuff. So this is a little different for her. It's poetic prose, basically. And it's all about creativity. Like, what is it? Where does it come from? How do we tap into it?
Age-old questions, right?
Totally. And McKnight doesn't hold back. Like, right from the first line, there's this explosion of sensory stuff. Cerulean and indigo lights, golden filigree. She even talks about a taste of honey. It's like she's trying to make us taste the words, you know?
It's interesting you say that because she's definitely playing with synesthesia. It's like she's blending all these senses together so we don't just read the words, we experience them.
Yes.
And that blurring of senses, it's kind of like what happens when we get creative too, right? That feeling of boundaries dissolving between the real and the imagined.
Love that. Blurring the lines.
Yeah.
That's so McKnight. And then she takes it even further. She introduces this whole concept of the muse as this, like, actual being, separate from the artist. She even gives the muse these opalescent fires and talks about how the muse becomes the melody.
It's a powerful image.
It really is. This idea that the muse is its own entity, like a separate person almost, it's so intriguing to me.
You know, it reminds me of how for centuries we've personified the muse in art and literature, like this external force that grants us inspiration.
Right?
But what McKnight does, which I think is brilliant, is she weaves in this other layer. This idea that the muse is also a reflection of the artist's potential.
Okay, hold on. I like where you're going with this.
It's like she's saying we're not just empty vessels waiting for some external force to fill us up. We have our own creative fire within.
Wellspring of ideas.
Exactly. And it's not just a passive pool waiting around either. McKnight introduces another element here, a character, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, a character called inspiration.
Wow. Okay, so we're getting really meta here.
Right. And she describes inspiration as having skittering lightning in its veins, this energy that harmonizes with the muse's melody.
Okay, hold up. So we've got the muse who's like this raw creative force, and then inspiration comes along and like whips it into shape.
That's a good way to put it. It's like this active force that partners with the muse, pushes the creative process forward.
Okay, so it's more like a dance than a wrestling match.
I like that analogy because it really captures this interplay between unconscious creativity, which the muse represents, and then the conscious effort, the discipline even, that inspiration embodies.
Okay, this is really making me think. So we've got the muse and inspiration, maybe doing a little tango or something. But then there's this other image that keeps popping up throughout the piece. The weeping willow tree. Why the weeping willow, do you think? What's that all about?
Well, the weeping willow, with its drooping branches, it's often seen as a symbol of introspection, intuition.
And like looking inward.
Yeah, exactly. Tapping into the subconscious.
Makes-
And notice how McKnight specifically says it's beneath the willow where this connection with the muse happens.
Right, right.
It's in that quiet, introspective space where we can really connect with our deepest creativity. What do you think, listener? Where do you go to connect with that space within yourself?
Ooh, good question. It's like she's saying, it's not enough to just wait around for inspiration to strike. We have to actively seek out those spaces, both internal and external, where our creativity can flourish.
Exactly. And this is where things start to get even more interesting. Remember how we were talking about inspiration as this active force? Well, it's also beneath the weeping willow where McKnight introduces this merging, this fusion between the artist and the muse. It's like under that willow tree, that's where the boundaries really start to dissolve, you know?
Yeah.
She even writes at one point, she and I are one, and I am she.
Whoa.
It's like, it's not just about finding the muse. It's about realizing that on some level, we are the muse.
Okay, that's kind of blowing my mind a little bit.
Right.
Because, I mean, I used to think inspiration was this, like,
Yeah.
this random thing, you know, like, it just strikes you out of the blue.
Yeah, the lightning bolt of genius.
Exactly. But McKnight's saying, no, it's not random.
It's there within you all the time.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you have this wellspring, this creative potential. You just need to figure out how to tap into it.
And sometimes I think we need someone to give us permission to do that, you know?
Oh, totally. Like to say, hey, it's okay to be creative.
Exactly.
It's okay to explore those parts of yourself.
And McKnight does that so beautifully, I think, especially toward the end of the piece where she has these lines.
Oh, yeah.
They're incredibly empowering.
I wear confidence. I wear my own grace. I am the muse.
It's like she's speaking directly to us, Like
Yeah.
she's saying, you are capable of amazing things. You are your own muse.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about how she connects creativity, not just to our inner world, but also to the world around us. Like she talks about the muse whispering tales of adventure and yearning for love. It's like our creativity is fueled by our deepest desires, our experiences, everything.
Right. And it's not just about like grand adventures or epic love stories. It's those everyday moments, too. The way the light hits a leaf, a conversation with a stranger, all of it feeds into that creative wellspring.
Totally. And I think sometimes embracing our creativity also means embracing the messiness of it all,
Totally.
because it's not always pretty. There's going to be blocks. There's going to be self-doubt. Sometimes you just flat out feel stuck.
100%. But I think even in those moments when we're feeling vulnerable, when we're pushing past our comfort zones, that's where the real growth happens.
It's like we're digging deeper, unearthing something valuable.
Exactly. And the cool thing is McKnight gets it. She's been there, felt all those things, but she came out on the other side, and she's wearing her creativity with such confidence, such grace.
It's inspiring, really. It's like she's saying, look, it's okay to stumble. It's okay to experiment. That's where the magic happens.
Exactly. And, when we look back at our creative journeys, those mistakes, those moments where we felt lost, they often become the stepping stones to something even more incredible than we could have imagined.
So true. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into McKnight's world,
Yeah.
what's the key takeaway here? What's the nugget of wisdom we can carry with us?
I think the most profound thing McKnight leaves us with is this question. What does it mean to be your own muse? It's about cultivating that inner confidence, that grace she talks about. And it's not just for artists, right? It's for everyone, whether you're writing a poem, starting a business, or just trying to navigate your everyday life. That creative energy is there within you, waiting to be channeled.
I love that. So, listener, I want you to think about this. What's your weeping willow? Where do you go, internally or externally, to connect with that quiet space where your creativity resides?
Find that space, nurture it, and remember, you are your own muse.
Beautifully said. A huge thank you to you, our amazing listeners, for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it as thought-provoking and inspiring as we did. And if you'd like to explore more of Aurora Moon McKnight's work, we'll be sure to link to her piece in the show notes. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep diving deep into the boundless world of knowledge and imagination. It's like she's saying, hey, it's okay to stumble, it's okay to experiment. That's where the magic happens.
Exactly. And when we look back at our creative journeys, those mistakes, those moments where we felt lost, they often become the stepping stones to something even more incredible than we could have imagined.
So true. So as we wrap up this deep dive into McKnight's world, what's the key takeaway here? What's that nugget we can all take with us?
I think the most profound thing McKnight leaves us with is this question. What does it mean to be your own muse? It's about cultivating that inner confidence, that grace she talks about. And it's not just for artists, right? It's for everyone, whether you're writing a poem, starting a business, or just trying to navigate your everyday life. That creative energy is there within you, waiting to be channeled.
I love that. So listener, I want you to think about this. What's your weeping willow? Where do you go, internally or externally, to connect with that quiet space where your creativity resides?
Find that space, nurture it, and remember, you are your own muse.
Beautifully said. A huge thank you to you, our amazing listeners, for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it as thought-provoking and inspiring as we did. And if you'd like to explore more of Aurora Moon McKnight's work, we'll be sure to link to her piece in the show notes. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep diving deep into the boundless world of knowledge and imagination.